Let's hit it. We'll see if SK can extend this one to Game 3. Hopefully for them and their fans, they will.
Trying to see what they can really do here, because that game was so quick. SK could never really find their footing, and they had a great late game composition, but the pure aggression from adapting was a little bit too much to handle for SK side.
What was that? 9 assists, 6 kills, and only a single death for King Kenneth over there. Really clean stuff. NRG gonna ban out the Nemesis. Don't want Faeles on that one. Even though SK weren't able to take the victory, that's still the guy that Faeles has looked on the best this year. Giannis gonna be banned out alongside the Terra and the Circuit. SK, gotta say, I like the ban strategy. Ban the Circuit that was so dominant in game number 1, and the Terra is just an EmilZy look. We know how much he likes his character.
That's true.
It's a newer character as well, theoretically, so.
It's really difficult to ban out NRG all across the board here. So they're left with the Thoth. SK, though, what do they want in response? It's going to be the Nuwa. Now, normally you don't need to pick a mid-mage when there already is a mid-mage on the opposite side, but recently there's been more Nuwas in the dual lane, so not wanting to deal with that double mage shenanigans, SK taking that for themselves.
NRG will be facing off against Nuwa and Achilles. We'll see if that winds up in the hands of Faeles, the jungler, Ducky, the solo laner, or even in the hands of the support like we saw Rafa earlier on. Sobek, same situation. Solo lane, support.
A lot of control. It doesn't really matter whether or not it goes to maniaKK or EmilZy. Whoever that goes for NRG will definitely pilot it very effectively and really enable this Ravana jungle for adapting.
I want to see the Sobek in the solo lane. maniaKK has always looked good on the Croc. I really enjoy the way that he brings the character out, so we'll see if that control winds up on the short side. But Soul will be an option for SK, most likely in the hands of Funballer. We'll see how this one goes. And playing that Soul, want to make sure to take care of the other magical carries. Down goes the Chronos.
Just a lot of damage onto towers. Even at level 1 here, I'm really expecting SK's dual lane to be hyper aggressive. It could even be the Achilles in there trying to get off that damage and maybe some early pressure.
Cerberus, the last ban from SK Gaming, option over to NRG. They've already taken care of Susano. They'll take another look at Faeles and ban out the Daji. Not convinced that the Achilles will be going into the jungle. We'll see if they're correct or not. But Chulainn will be a choice for SK. That'll be in the solo lane. So Achilles, if he's not playing in the support role, it looks like NRG wasted a lot of bans.
It definitely could be the case here. So better safe than sorry either way. It's like, all right, what supports are you really worried about their draft from NRG? Maybe an Artio would be kind of annoying against the Thoth, but other than that, that's true. That's why they have it for themselves.
Well, the Anhur selection, I don't think they're afraid of the Artio. We'll see if that one's the jam here. Final choice for SK Gaming. Show us where the Achilles is going.
Erlang,
all right.
Shen. Triple warrior composition here from SK Gaming. They did it also in the very first set against the Obey Alliance. I forget if it was game 1 or 2. Didn't really work out too well for them.
A lot of wiggle room here. All three of these warriors can play pretty much all 3 positions, whether it's support, jungle, or solo, depending on who you ask. Are we seeing a game 3 today, Anatoly?
It's a... no.
Sometimes it's that simple. Commentators, take us away.
It's no from me as well, Tolly. Finch and Graham here. We're going to be casting SK and NRG. Can we see if NRG can finish off in 2 games? Very likely, but SK got to pump the brakes for my money.
Sure, they've got a little bit more of a tankier composition here, so maybe they can weather the storm a little bit earlier on. Hope to try and get towards a mid stage of the game where they're really going to potentially shine through, especially if they can hold on through the mid and then get to new war stage.
What about you, Mixer Chad? Do you agree with Tolly that NRG are going to be able to take this in 2, or does SK have a chance maybe to slow this down and actually find a game 2 win and force us into a game 3? We know they've got that little nugget of support that's always going to be there. Has it grown any from there is my question.
Yeah, the main thing in this one then is basically fix the early game. Don't do what you did in game 1. Go back and fix a couple of the problems there. maniaKK is in the solo lane, just so you guys know, even though he's got him down in mid on the left-hand side.
maniaKK is right where he belongs on the Sobek pick.
I panicked. That's why I was saying it for myself, because I'm like, wait a second, is that Sobek mid? Oh, no, it says maniaKK. Okay, I'm not so worried. I actually thought Yammyn might have been playing Sobek mid, and I'm like, wow, that's a bit BM.
Yeah, it would feel like Yammyn could play anything if that were the call. maniaKK, though, hanging out here in the mid lane, takes about 40% of his HP. for walking into the wrong neighborhood. WhoDaBest is lurking over here as well. It's a huge grouping in the mid lane because we're still 25 seconds before minions have spawned. Negative time, as Totally calls it, right?
Negative time. And in that negative time as well, I do like the fact that maniaK just went back to base then too. He had plenty of time to just sit back.
Oh!
22% still believe.
That's more than last time.
How?
SK gained fans last game.
Did they just feel bad? A few people were like, you know what, I feel kind of guilty.
Here's the question. Did they put SK as the top choice? Because sometimes he'll just click the top one.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they'll just click whatever the first one is, not even looking.
So is that why aggro won the whole Eva?
Probably, if aggro was above F-Dot. A couple people just clicked the first one.
That's maybe why F-Dot's so upset, because he realized the vote was rigged in the first place. Besides, I don't know why you all want to do Hou Yi impressions anyway. You're all bad at it.
Graham, I feel like you haven't done your Hou Yi impression yet.
I don't need to.
I don't know. Mixer chat would disagree.
No, I don't need to.
All right, we'll leave it alone.
It's too good to broadcast.
People will get confused. They'll think there's a Hou Yi in this game. If they
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe at the end of the game. Maybe.
Erlang Shen, going to be the jungler here for Faeles, though, Graham, and I think that's worth talking about. We don't see a whole lot of Erlang Shen anymore right now. This triple warrior comp from SK that they like to run early on. Can this Erlang Shen do enough?
This feels like SK going back to a strategy with Lawbster and Funballer that Lawbster and Funballer have ran a lot, which is triple frontliners that go very aggressive and dive in deep and leave themselves to look after themselves, specifically on the New War and the Soul, two of the most escapable gods that are available to be able to self-peel. And seeing the strategy doesn't surprise me. Plus, we did see the Erlang a little bit earlier on, played by Faeles, up against Dignitas. So it's something that Faeles has been running more than others so far.
Yeah, when I say that we don't see a lot, it's something that Faeles has played. We don't see it very much elsewhere. Pen comes out, trying to contest these mid-harpies, adapting. Is here to fight it out. Yeah,
this start is already better from SK. Notice how they stole the blue buff away from maniaK at the start of this with Column 2. And now Faeles going to take a boxing match up against a supreme boxer in the jungling Ravana.
Ravana's a pretty good boxer. Not going to try and take that fight in the jungle, though, is adapting. He's still level 2. Faeles, considering the start he took, was able to get a little bit ahead of adapting. Going to split a little bit more farm here with Yammyn in the mid lane. Checking in duo, though, looks like SK, at least from their positioning on the map, have the pressure. Not too surprising, since they've got the Achilles over here to help out.
Yeah, the Achilles is just the cone control, is how I'll call him. It's not zone control, it's cone control. Because that cone ability just does so much work in terms of damage to the minions. And if you get too close to the cone control, you're going to get stunned, which will follow with an easy stellar burst coming out from Funballer, if it's available.
That pressure means SK can come back towards those oracles and grab them for themselves. Most important part of this, though, is just that bit of neutral farm they're going to gain for themselves. Not so much the vision at this point. Goldfree not even on the map yet.
A much better position for SK to be in. Last game, the game got away from them very, very quickly. This time round, they actually have a bit of a lead over a couple of members of NRG. And just getting through this early stage is what SK need to do. I mentioned before we went live with this one, Finch, that 3-tank composition with a new war for the late game opportunity. You just want to weather the storm in the early game, keep NRG pinned back. But then again, NRG are also technically running 3 tanks.
NRG are running 3 tanks right now. What I'm looking at, though, Graham, is over here in the solo lane. maniaK was forced to use the teleport earlier on, or maybe not even forced. He realized that he's the one that has teleport, and Ducky's instead elected for the sprint. So even though he's getting pressured out by this Chulainn, he's got sort of a free trip back to base that he can take and then come back in full health. You see he was able to go into the tier 2 boots as well, but that's still not going to save his blue buff as that gets aggressed.
No, and this is just good work from SK to try and get Ducky a lead here. Use Faeles and Ducky together to keep the Sobek pin back early. It's going to be hard to kill a Sobek unless something like this happens.
Could be problems, though, as the Blink was waiting over the wall. First blood going the way of Faeles for SK Gaming. Ducky even makes it back out alive.
Love it.
Way better start.
Love that little play there. I thought Ducky was a little bit far forward for my liking against a Sobek, but it was all about the baits. And he took a lot more damage than he planned to, granted, but he did survive. And they pick up the first kill on maniaK, giving the kill over to Faeles will help him out in getting his build online just a little bit quicker. That's why he's got full boots now.
Full boots available. Ducky, though, pushing the minion wave into the tier 1 tower over in solo. As we mentioned, the teleport had already been used, so a long, slow walk back to base for the, or to the tower rather, for the crocodile. Already down to about half health here for maniaK. Felt good able to get that pluck, but ended up
sure.
getting ganked.
And the notice that Faeles immediately, as soon as the pluck connects, he immediately goes aggressive on maniaKK there, because that's maniaKK's escape. Not being level 5 yet means he's not got lurking in the waters.
Right.
His only form of in and out of engagements is going to be that charge prey.
Look at Faeles. Look at Faeles. He has the ultimate available, waits on the jump patiently, but the blink comes out again. emilitoo still has the blink. Even without beads, able to be safe from the gank.
Yeah, beautiful little blink coming out there. Straight away from emilitoo. That's one of the benefits of the blink. It can, we do mention it can be used defensively. Just doesn't often get the chance to do that. But he was already out of combat anyway. The leap bought him that extra second of window. And as Faeles was adjusting to where he was leaping to and working out exactly the calculation of where do I throw my pin, blink to save the day.
It's not often you're able to use the blink defensively. You talked about how it can be that defensive relic, but this time, though, able to avoid getting hit by anything. Now, should Faeles lead with the taunt there is what I wonder. Would that be able to get there before the blink comes out or no?
I mean, if you do go for the taunt there, he potentially could have reached with the taunt, but you've not got the guaranteed confirmed damage. And using your ultimate sometimes early on, you want to use it for some sustain. This time, though, the blue buff, this is the 4th attempt. They've got reinforcements.
Adapting here, Dragonic Corruption comes out as well. maniaKK finds Ducky this time. maniaKK has to go a bit on the retreat as he's been brought very low thanks to the fire shards coming out from Lawbster. They're going to continue the chase, but Faeles has his own blink.
Now look at the difference of what happened there. Big key there is SK continuing to focus on the blue buff, and NRG are like, okay, we will adapt. Shockingly enough, they have a guy in the jungle called Adapting, and they're very good at doing that. So what do? They send an extra man over here. emilZy turns up to make sure this rotation of the blue isn't stolen away, and if it is, it at least gets punished.
It's the most important part when you're getting those buffs invaded is how well do you respond to the second and third times. Here in Season 5, getting one buff stolen is not the end-all be-all. It doesn't put you so far behind like it used to. So now there's the chance for your team to come over when you see that they're going to repeatedly invade, and that's exactly what the response from NRG was. Lawbster and WhoDaBest recognize that they cannot walk into 3 members there and back away.
And it's not just about, like, if your blue buff is getting invaded on cooldown, it doesn't mean you have to think of a way to defend your blue. You can look to put pressure elsewhere on the map too. Gold Furies, red buff steals, purple. Like, if they're going to go right with members, send your jungle to the left, potentially. Unless, you know, you do want to try and save the blue for maniaKK, who, let's be honest, Sobek does love a good blue buff.
You can't do nothing, though. You gotta figure something out. You cannot keep letting them just take your buff away from you. So whether it's more presence there where their aggression is or finding some aggression of your own, as a team, you have to make sure that you make that call. And NRG, very good at making those types of calls. And I think it's areas like that where the support switch that we're seeing from them is really beneficial. You got to imagine that someone who's very internal or very thinks about the game at a really high level, like emilZy, certainly knows exactly what call that they want to make. If he is one of the shot callers here for the squad, you think that he would certainly be helpful with that. And
it's funny when we say high level of thinking, like every single one of these pro players, outside of like 1 or 2 that I'm not going to name because it's just mean, but like outside of 1 or 2, they all think at a very high level in terms of how to play the game. But some more than others, like in a crazy factor. Like there's some that just go beyond and beyond. It's like that brain meme, you know? Like there's that levels of it. It's like
most pros are at least the second level, right?
Precisely. But then there's 1 or 2 that just supersede that and go supersonic.
Yeah.
Or into the cosmos.
We'll see if that'll be able to help them as emilZy's forced to jump away, lands right back into the mist. Is going to be okay without taking too much poke. WhoDaBest can't find anyone. Now, that's something else I kind of want to zero in for a moment. WhoDaBest is playing this Achilles, which we've seen Raffer play very well, but it does seem like Raffer is able to start things up a little bit sooner for his team.
Does depend on matchups too, and the way WhoDaBest played the Geb last time around, he just doesn't want to make mistakes. And you can get that sort of playstyle playing the support role where you're the new member of the team.
That's the important part, yeah.
You're being overshadowed by the other members. Nobody really knows you in the pro league yet. You just don't want to make a mistake. And with someone like Achilles, you kind of just have to go ham. You know, like, it will help to be a little bit more aggressive. And you can see that in terms of the net worth and probably player damage, too. It's probably a lot lower down than where Raffer was playing it earlier on. 380 damage. And
I haven't spoken to WhoDaBest, so I certainly can't say I'm in his head, but you got to think that to an extent that comes in a little bit. You know, you don't want to be the thing that the one that everyone's blaming if things aren't going well for the team. And so WhoDaBest may be playing a little bit more cautious than normally, perhaps.
And I hope he's not. I hope he's just there with, like, not a care in the world. Like, it doesn't matter. I didn't cost SK this split whatsoever. I'm here as a substitute. Maybe I get the main roster spot next split, but I'm just going to play my style. I'm just going to do what I do, which is, you know, be a semi-decent player.
emilitoo gets stunned. Level 10 staring down the level 7 Achilles. The plight of supports here in Season 5 continues. Lawbster rotating over. Supernova's committed. emilitoo is in the wrong neighborhood. Has a little bit of help coming out in the form of emilZy as Ducky finds adapting on the right side of the map. He is able to jump over the wall. Execute. Not going to land.
What a great little play from SK. 2 fights at the same time, and they both go in SK's favor. emilitoo got a little bit baited then by the young lad WhoDaBest, who we were just talking about, who used all his abilities, and then the collapse came from SK, and emilitoo was still looking for a fight after his Impale was used. So because of that, SK are just able to capitalize on the Gold Fury. 2 mistakes from NRG, 2 mistakes punished.
And to give some credit to WhoDaBest, who we were just giving maybe a little bit of a hard time, perfectly zoning away Yammyn on that Gold Fury siege. Yes, they'd won that fight, but a final judgment can easily steal an objective away at this point, so making sure no way for Yammyn to be anywhere near the objective, Gold Fury, and the fight going SK's way. They're up 2,000 gold here now at the 10-minute mark, and looking much, much better than Game 1.
Didn't like that call from Funballer there. It was a very awkward one, just very quickly in that duo lane. He froze away for a second, and I'm like, just push it in, because at the same time, if emilZy gets the farm, fine. emilZy getting the farm hurts, but he left it up for emilitoo to be able to get there. He could have just forced that whole wave under the tower for safety if need be. It didn't work out too bad in the end, but there's a couple of creeps that should have died to a tower, realistically. Those small little details can really impact if they continue to happen.
Yeah, those do end up mattering pretty significantly. Faeles, though, is a bit ahead at least of adapting. Could just be a difference in back timers or his lead. He's got the Crusher finished off and the boots. Even has tier 1 there of what would likely be the Mad Guy's Cloak. We've been seeing that picked up a lot. Yeah. Mage's Cloak, Mage's Cloak. Mad Guy's Cloak.
Mages, I mean, technically Mage is M-A-G-E, right?
Yeah.
So Magi, or Magi, is how it would probably be said, right?
No, but it's like Mage apostrophe S, right?
Mage apostrophe S?
Like Mages.
Mages, yeah.
I think so.
Mage Cloak? Magi Cloak? Maggie Cloak?
emilZy wishing he had a Mage's Cloak right now as he's in a little bit of trouble. Forced to go to the Draconic Corruption. But it's Faeles who gets rooted out. Now they're here to follow up. Final Judgment goes in as well. Yammyn is able to find the kill. Mystic Rush now coming out from adapting as they look to turn the team fight. Supernova comes out, deters him away for a moment, but NRG find a pick for themselves in the jungle.
Yeah, sorry about that giggle. The giggle was emilitoo just blinked in, tried to steal the kill with Desert Fury. Like, he wanted to make sure he was even there. There was no need for that, but he was like, Desert Fury, go! And the one thing you mentioned there was emilZy needed the Magi's Cloak there. He didn't. He was actually doing his best job of trying to zone, save the red buff for his team, which was being invaded, and then look to turn the fight, which is exactly what ended up happening.
emilZy turns that fight in his team's favor, and they come away with a pick. Going to help them out a good deal. Going on to Yammyn, who could certainly use it in that mid lane, as Lawbster has gotten a little bit ahead XP-wise, and that'll help even things back out for Yammyn on this Thoth pick.
Interesting the Brawler's beatstick from adapting here, actually. I wonder why he's gone for that. Obviously, there's not that much sustain on this roster of SK. Maybe Sol is what you're looking at. Erlang Shen. Obviously, Erlang Shen's ultimate given the sustain, and Sol generally goes for a Bancroft's talent for the most part, so has plenty of lifesteal. But I'm a bit surprised because Crush is just so by WhoDaBest.
That's too bad. emilitoo able to find that kill on WhoDaBest in the duo lane.
There are a lot of surprise kills this season, I'll tell you that, at least this week.
Yeah, some kills that you don't expect.
No, you don't expect to see it on the map. It's kind of like points where they should be farming, and then all of a sudden, like, someone gets picked apart. But going back to the beatstick, Crusher is amazing on someone like Ravana.
Yes.
Because we discussed it earlier, he is a puncher. He likes to punch things. And if you get a punch a little bit quicker, which is one thing that Crusher allows you to do with the attack speed, makes an impact. But beatstick is a very team-orientated sort of style to go for in the early stages.
Going to be reducing the healing. You already highlighted, though, that Funballer likely going to be building into some, has it on the one, and likely built a band cross, Faeles as well. So there's certainly some sustained limit, but not to the point where you traditionally itemize around it. I agree what you mean. It's not like a raw
first item. It's not first item ability. Adapts it under pressure here in the jungle, has to Mystic Rush back to safety. However, the Crocodile could have been a bit of a worse spot, but maniaKK held onto his pluck nicely.
Good damage over the wall from Yammyn. Faeles is the one that's going to eat that, and maniaKK can go back towards farming his Harpies. But SK, I mean, I want to kind of focus on it. They're looking much better here. They've given up a couple kills recently here, and they've been mostly picks where they stepped a little bit too far out of line, or in the duo lane where WhoDaBest, they end up falling in that 2v2 in the duo lane, but they still have a bit of a lead.
Yeah, just forget game one. That's all you need to do.
Yes.
And SK have done that, which is really important. As a team that plays in multiple sets, you have to forget bad games, specifically ones that go that detrimental in the first game. Forget about it. Just move on to the next one, do a reset, and act as if you just lost a little bit of TP.
I think those kind of games are a little bit easier to forget, honestly, than like a game where you had a chance to win and you just like maybe one call, one step blows it. So maybe it's a little bit easier to shake those ones off as maniaKK is continuing to kind of bully Ducky over here in solo.
It'll be okay. It's just a fighting situation. Left-hand side, though, Faeles is hanging around again, but he believes they've smelt that one out, adapting emilitoo. They had an idea that Faeles could have been over there, even though they don't have a ward down.
I know those are just solo laners boxing to go back to the solo lane, but what it has highlighted for me is that maniaKK has truly gone for all this cooldown. I know it's on the build, but you really saw the pluck felt like it was constantly up for him. Yeah. So when those team fights start happening, maniaKK is going to be a nightmare.
30% CDR already on the solo lane and causes a lot of problems. I mean, to be fair, Guardians love cooldown anyway. It's just not something they can generally get into a build. The only ones that really do manage to do that are the solo laners because they get a bit more farm, get those tankiness online a little bit later because they can go for more cooldown. Plus, they don't have to build auras, which is always nice.
They don't have to worry about the rest of the team. I'm building for me.
Stupid rest
solo
of the team.
lane. Yeah, who needs them? It's called solo for a reason.
That's right. I carry this game on my own back. Ducky gonna at least defend his own buff there. maniaKK tried to return the favor of all the ones stolen earlier, and he's like, nope, not having any of that.
This one's finally going to be going the way of Ducky, or rather, maniaKK trying to take away but not able to, and Ducky picks it up. Blue buff not as important for the Cucullins, but he wants to make sure he's securing his farm more than anything, and he does. Actually going to come show some attention towards the blue buff, but maniaKK's already dropped it.
Yeah, not this time round. Sunshine, not going to happen today. One thing I'm looking forward to is seeing where the red buff ends up going, whether emilitoo's going to get them the whole game, like he's just picked up the last one, or whether Yammyn will like supersede him at some point in this one. There is a point in time where Anhur just kind of fizzles. He doesn't disappear. He just fizzles, you know, towards the end, and then at that point is where the Thoth will probably supersede in terms of damage and that one-shot potential.
Anhur doesn't have like the late game steroid like a lot of some of these other hunters do, so that's sometimes what it feels like that is the fall off for him. So
it's a passive that he's got for himself, which gives him a lot of pressure in the early stages. Basically applying a semi-executioner already in his kit, which is very useful for early, mid-game, but when it gets to the late game, the carries, the hunters that do very well are the ones that have a steroid, the ones that can boost their attack speed or give themselves crit too, you know, things like that that can really make an impact.
They have a button that they push that says, I want to do the hunter things really quickly, and it does it. Just like Artemis, Rom, both of them have it.
Artemis, Rom, Chronos, another one that's very good for that same sort of thing with the Go pedal. Definitely available there. This Gold Fury, though, very telling.
I thought they were going to pull it there for a moment, but it looks like they backed off. NRG are here and showing some presence. They're not going to be able to pull this one for free. SK Gaming back off.
That was a very good win, actually, for SK Gaming. They're playing the Ward Dance, and the Ward Dance is who runs out of sentries first. Bad news is, Yammyn just came back from base with another sentry, so the fight is literally over these wards, which are just getting cancelled out and cancelled out. On the way from base now, keep an eye on Lawbster and Funballer, who both also have picked up sentries. Expect that battle to continue as one by one the sentries will be killed.
You can tell Graham plays a lot of support. For a long time, that was the only interesting thing that got to happen for some of our support players. Those little ward battles they had.
Hey, listen, ward battles are so... When supports are left alone in ward battles, they're the most entertaining because it becomes a 1v1 duel of how do I use my abilities of CC to prevent you from killing my ward while I kill yours. And most of the time, in a lot of cases, it comes down to just the one auto. Because
it's melee autos, too. It's intense. I agree.
Very intense.
And well, there used to be a lot of cool stuff. Mages had like, or not mages, but supports had the hogs. They were going in for those hog steals.
Hog steals.
Yeah, so there were some like little minor highlight plays. Now the support role has become a little bit, it's evolved a bit. You know, it's much more trying to make sure that you're peeling for your backline, that you're trying to be the one that has the crowd control to set up for your carries.
And it kind of, it's changed a little bit more this season specifically because of how the meta is looking too. Hang on a second, Lawbster's in trouble.
He is in a lot of trouble, forced to retreat, goes up into the air with the fire shards. That felt more defensive than anything as Lawbster gets on out of dodge, but he's half health and will not have that cooldown available for a little while.
I like the old Lawbster there, just because you heard Yammyn with the amazing ooh. That was the tell sign of like, I could die here any second. If
it also sounded like the beginning of your hoo-yee.
No, that's nothing like my hoo-yee impression.
I'm just trying to get you to do a hoo-yee. I know Mixer Chat wants it.
I'm gonna not do it. No.
That's fine. But you're right. Lawbster, those audio cues responding to it, it's pretty important. It is one of the bigger strengths for for Thoth in particular, though, that he can charge up that ultimate and kind of force you to be on edge, not
huge.
quite sure when that's going to come out.
Such a huge strength because there's no other real god in the game that can do that in terms of charge with ultimate and then not fight. Neath is probably the only other one I can really think of off the top of my head where you're like, hey, I'm Neath, I'm charging.
And Thoth can still move around. Yeah, he doesn't even put himself out that hard to do it, yeah.
What a balanced god.
He's better now.
He's getting there, slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. He's not as dominant. At the highest level of play, though, for sure, he's always good. Every god is going to look his best at the highest level of play.
That's right.
That's the main thing to see. And if you don't see it at the highest level of play, there's probably reasons for it. It doesn't mean it's because they're underpowered. It might just be because they don't work in competitive 5-on-5 communication settings.
Yeah, there's some gods that when the other team can coordinate onto them easily, quickly, that sort of thing, they don't do as well.
And that's what I mean, my reasons for why I think Achilles has been a slightly overrated in terms of pro league play. I think with high levels of communication, Achilles can be shut down a little bit easier because you're all on comms, you can all CC chain him down. He's only really got his ultimate for CC immunity, but then again, that means the execute's not being used with its intention of getting kills. It's being used more as an escape than to actually put pressure on. But on the casual side of things, Achilles runs rampant. He will run rampant too because people aren't all on the same page about, hey, let's burst him down with a CC chain.
The Ward war continues around the Gold Fury pit, and this time going the way of NRG.
Wards need blood splatters on them, man, just so we can just see all this blood around the Gold Fury pit where it's just death of all these wards that have been happening. Maybe we should make wards for the teams, right, that actually have faces of the players who are playing. Right?
So like when you're counter warding, you're literally taking Adapting's face off the map?
Exactly. Or you can make the players do death animations for themselves, so when the ward dies, a death animation plays.
It's ridiculous. Gold Fury being pulled now by NRG Esports. There's the versatility, though, of the Fire Shard's ultimate from It
was good.
They got plenty of vision on just how hard NRG committed, and most importantly, when it comes out, NRG just drop it.
Exactly, but notice now that they got that ultimate out of Lawbster, they have a small advantage there. They've got to be careful. Lawbster specifically has to be very careful because they'll all in him if they see him.
Taunt comes out from Faeles. That's going to pull them back towards him, but that might not be what he wants. A lot of damage coming out from emilitoo. Yammyn charging the final judgment. Hits nothing. That's another big Maid's ultimate that's now going to be down. And WhoDaBest going to continue going in aggressive. They've got the team here in tow. Impale up against the pillar. Takes half his health.
Why? The reason they're going aggressive is because Ducky was on the rotation nice and quick, but Maniac's turned up already. The Clay minions block the pluck, and the Crocodile doesn't have his ultimate right now. The Crocodile is being invested in, but they've not got the damage to kill him.
The Execute is blocked, though, from Faeles, so he's not going to be able to find it. Supernova comes out as well, and WhoDaBest is low. Funballer finds EmilZy, though, first, and they get the first blood here, at least in this engagement. Continuing to push is Ducky. He wants to try and find the very low health maniaK and Yammyn as well. Aegis is forced to come out, and the damage is there. Ducky finds that as well. 2 members fall now for NRG SK. 5 members strong can go back to the Gold Fury.
I'll tell you, after EmilZy died there, I was shaking my head about SK continuing to chase, but finding Yammyn there was monumentous for SK Gaming. They will get the Gold Fury after. I wanted them to just go gold then, like, hey, have one person zone, make sure they don't come in and get gold. Instead, picking up Yammyn helps them out even more so. Problem is, they don't find anything else on the map, though. I mean, obviously, Gold Fury is a big win, but I feel like instead of sending Ducky all the way back to solo, he could have started putting pressure on mid a little bit more.
And look, for my money, look how safe Funballer felt. He did not feel pressured that whole fight. Beats Aegis still on cooldown. The only person with both relics still available for him, or rather, Faeles is just back available too. But I mean, take a look at NRG. Just about everything is on cooldown for them on their side of things, especially on those carries. But Funballer was able to freely cast throughout that fight.
Yep.
His Supernova didn't hit exactly where he wanted it, but he was doing constant damage the whole time. But this response from NRG is huge. They take the Pyromancer, or at least they look for it.
No, he stole
it! SK pull it away!
Zone, the cone control once again comes through from WhoDaBest.
Control.
Control. Hey!
Yeah, just short. Yeah.
Hey! That was pretty good, Finch.
Oh, well.
Creative.
You had to,
No, I
you had to
liked
throw a
it.
party.
I was saying it was good.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not often I hear, but the cast says be good.
Not going to add to that.
Okay.
SK Gaming, though, is certainly worth adding to, as they have a good lead for themselves here, especially when you consider what just happened to them in Game 1. I mean, it was not nice. It was not pretty.
Respect to those fans that started rooting for them a little bit more, because SK looked good this game. But as I was saying, this is a comp that Lawbster and Funballer have played before. There's 3 frontliners that all dive in, and the rest Those two just sit at the back and throw out damage. And you were talking about Funballer being able to do that. Well, it's because they know the style of comp they need to do. Just go, 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 pressure with the tanks, and then allow the damage dealers to do the work. 3 members on the right-hand side, though, from SK.
They're committing onto this Tier 1 tower. EmilZy's here, but he can't come join the fight directly. Tier 1 in solo falls. That'll be added to the Tier 1 and duo they've already claimed for themselves. And SK, now they have to safely find their way back out of the jungle.
Yeah, Funballer and Lawbster are saying go. Funballer is clearly on the warpath this game. Already level 20, and is trying to commit heavily. They're trying to abuse a small lead they've got here. I think this is risky.
Well, they know that emilitoo's not here. They see him pushing in duo. That's one more mark in their favor. emilZy goes up into the Draconic Corruption, gets stunned the moment that he lands Supernova, blows him up. Funballer finds the damage that they need. It's already a 5v4. They continue the chase onto maniaKK, but the pluck gets him into safety. The root lands as well, and now the rest of the damage can come in too.
Split decision, though, from SK. Look at what they were doing. Some went to the fire, which isn't the real damage there from that team, and now Funballer is going to join in. Yammyn doesn't have his ultimate, and I like this more now because Yammyn's not going to be there. They get a Tier 1, probably a Tier 2,
They collapse.
and they'll get a Fire Giant.
maniaKK falls as well. Now they have a chance for the Fire Giant. SK Gaming have not only won the team fight, not only taken the Fire Giant, but they've looked good doing it. emilitoo is going to respond. They found Tier 1 in mid, looking for Tier 2 in mid as well, but doesn't have enough time to grab that one. SK, though, up against NRG, looking much, much better.
After knowing Funballer and Lawbster for some time with this run, and the rest of this roster too, Funballer is one of these guys that will go off, and a lot of the carries, a lot of the hunters in the league, when they're behind or when they're even, they don't say much. They just do their job and farm up. But when they feel like they're ready to fight and ready to go hard, they will start to shot call. And I knew that from the fact Funballer rotated all the way to the right-hand side for a Tier 1 tower that had 100 health. It cost him his Tier 1 on the left, but they had a plan. Fire Giant.
And they got it too. Had the vision to recognize that emilitoo was not there with help with the fight. Yammyn never really made the rotation to the fight. He was kind of around mid lane the whole time. And NRG, it looked like, didn't want to all in and bring Yammyn over to try and defend, especially without the ultimate. SK Gaming were able to catch out emilZy, able to catch out maniaKK, take the Fire Giant. Now they have a chance to take Tier 1 in mid and Tier 2 if they want it.
But Yammyn has to play very defensive here anyway, Finch, just because of the fact that there's 3 divers, you know? 3 gods that can get to him quickly. After the dash, he can get away from 1, right? Dash down. But then the other 2 pile on. And then he's like, well, I can't get away this time. Sieging is difficult, though. Against Thoth, against Anhur, not the easiest time in the world here. And then if you do take a step too far forward, maniaKK could be there with a pluck. So SK have to use this Fire Giant wisely. Just strip the towers down, get a gold lead, a more comfortable one. They're almost at that point of no return, you know?
Tier 2 tower in duo lane is beginning to crumble. Just crossed the threshold into the 27-minute mark. NRG are taking this chance to move out aggressively, and this is what strong teams do, Graham. A lot of the times when this push is happening from the team with Fire Giant, the other team kind of stays in base and doesn't do much at all. But look at NRG kind of moving out, taking the Tier 1 in right, finding a little bit more farm to cut as much of this lead out as they can.
I mean, this is emilitoo doing a la Game 1 of Obey versus NRG as well, where he just split pushed when there was an opportunity that arose. Abused the map. NRG are having to play this tactically again for this game because SK have won the early game. They've also done very well in the team fights.
Gold Fury going to add to the gold lead for SK, which has now reached 10,000, and we're approaching that 28-minute mark. I know you said before 30 minutes you felt comfortable calling it. In this game, do you feel comfortable?
Bit of a different story, though, than this one. And that's why I was saying it's close to that mark.
Sure,
the difference is
close.
more of the towers have gone down here. And yeah, I said around 8k seems insurmountable. The closer towards 30 you get, the less that matters. Because if you look at the builds that you've got out of NRG here, it's not doom and gloom. They're still on to their 6th item before they sell their starters. Still a couple of starters left on SK here too. So the item lead isn't as big as it would have been if this was, say, you know, 9 minutes in.
The experience is another big one that's not going to matter as much either. So NRG certainly has a chance to fight back into this game, and I think you're right there to be a little more reserved at this game. It's certainly not out of the realm for NRG to make the defense, but if you are an SK fan, this is what you want to see. Most importantly, though, they need to maintain the same patience and shot calling they've had all game long.
I do want to see Lawbster and SK, though, when they get to these Phoenixes, is abuse the fog. I want to see the tanks hiding in this fog to try and set something up, because they're going to have to break the base at some point of energy, unless they can bait him into a fight around the Fire Giant. The next Fire Giant spawn could be very critical. But if not, when they're on siege and duty, they need to be using this fog to hide some of their tanks in there to look to the back line and force some relics early.
SK fall back. Fire Giant only has about another 5 seconds on it. So the Fire Giant itself will be respawning in about another minute. NRG Esports yet again pushing forward as much as they can once they recognize that SK Gaming have backed off. Trying to get some vision, trying to find what little farm in the jungle that they can to keep this game as even as possible. Yeah,
Lawbster's starting to climb in the player damage too now. This is the point of the game where Nuwa really starts to shine. The reason she's drafted a lot is she's great on siege defense, pretty good on siege offense as well with those clay minions, but very survivable is what her early game is about. Her late game, it's all about the damage, all about the burst that she can put out, and the fact that she hits all 5 members every single time with her ultimate makes a big impact in team fights at whatever stage the team fight is at.
And it looks like she's building, she's already got the Soul Reaver and potentially building into the Soul Gem there as well, so she really does want to bring that big damage all at once coming out, particularly on the ultimate, as you already pointed out. So Lawbster will have the chance with that red buff also around his waist to further cause some problems with his NRG roster. But look at their positioning. I don't know that NRG want to give up this Fire Giant for free. They're here.
No, I don't think they do. I think they want a proper 5-on-5, because if you notice so far that we've not had a 5-on-5 fight. Right. Maybe a lackadaisical one around the Gold Fury earlier on. But we'll see if NRG can turn this around now. emilitoo is with the team. If emilitoo disappears, he'll be off wandering to get some towers again. We saw it before. We won't be surprised to see it again.
All 5 members are here. All relics available for everyone as well. So they're using the fog. They're using the fog to try and sneak up in. They couldn't find the stuns, but the ultimate does come out from Ducky, and that's going to be the knockup. Already Aegis had to be used by Yammyn. He's rooted. He's knocked up. Fire charge enough. Lawbster has already taken him down. Now they're going to try and collapse onto EmilZy as well, but he jumps away. Can't find the stun. They do find the stun to SK, and EmilZy's an execute threshold. They don't even need it. Funballer takes EmilZy.
No. Mid lane Phoenix. The core should be mid lane Phoenix now. The pings went down on mid. Don't know whether that was from NRG or SK, but that should be a Phoenix, not the Fire Giant here. By going for the Fire Giant here, Finch, cool, you get the buff, but it's given her time for energy to get the respawns back in. If the respawns come through, Thoth is available to help prevent the siege.
Here's the question that you ask. Is a 5v5 with the Fire Giant easier than a 5v3 without it? If the answer is no, then they should have gone for Phoenix.
They should have gone for Phoenix.
Yeah, that's it. The 5v3 just would have been easier for them. SK instead have elected for the Fire Giant, but they're still going to have a chance for this 5v3 if they can push down into this Phoenix room quickly. Still in the jungle is Faeles, not fully set up for the defense yet is NRG, and now they push in. Impale comes out, followed up by the root, but that's all in the WhoDaBest.
Oh, they got Lawbster.
Luck is going to bring the Lawbster in, but there's no immediate follow-up. Instead, emilitoo is looking for damage onto the tanky targets. Phoenix at half health, and SK still standing strong, but Ducky's very low.
And now they've got to run away, because all of NRG are back. They don't get the Phoenix they were after, and now it might be NRG that are going to give chase.
Final Judgment hits Lawbster, hurts him very much, adapting with the Mystic Rush. He is looking for Lawbster. He finds him. Lawbster's already down. First kill of this fight goes the way of NRG. Now it's Ducky who's in a bit of trouble. emilZy is there all alone on the right-hand side. emilitoo's looking for a little bit more damage he can put into Faeles, who gets plucked right back in, and waiting for him, of course, is adapting.
And with that, maniaKK will fall, though. Great little play from Funballer to peel himself away. But the Fire Giant no longer on Lawbster. He's dead for 40 seconds. The Phoenix is all standing too. So at the end of the day, NRG are able to weather the storm exactly as I kind of predicted, unfortunately, for SK.
The question I asked you was the question that SK are going to have ringing in their ears, Graham. Which fight would we rather have? The 5v3 on the Phoenix without the Fire Giant, or the 5-on-5 with it?
In fairness to SK Gaming, though, that Fire Giant play is okay if there was no minions in mid lane, but the minions were at the Phoenix in mid lane, which means they didn't have to push minions in, they didn't have to backdoor it, so all they had to do was just walk up and start whacking away against 3 members. Instead, Fire Giant.
They came, pushed back down, they weren't able to find it. It does mean, though, the NRG able to find the defense. Fire Giant's still going to be on everyone else on SK. They only lost 1 member there. Gold lead certainly still in their favor, but that is beginning to mean less and less, really as now we're at the 33.5-minute mark here in the game.
It's almost power potion time, almost, I say, as NRG still are a little bit behind in terms of builds. Obviously, experience level 17, you see the cameraman hovering over it, but it doesn't matter. Supports are used to 40-minute games where they might not hit level 20 yet because they're so involved in the action.
Gold Fury goes down to SK as well. More just to have that one taken off the map. One more thing to grab than anything. Looks at the calls to try and help push up the duo. They've got a minion wave there, so certainly that push can happen.
Not gonna lie,
EmilZy's there with Yammyn as well, trying to push it up.
Pretty sure NRG are just going to be thanking their lucky stars that SK didn't go for that middle Phoenix, because right now, bit of an awkward one. This is hard to siege down. Quick pause from that, as you can see. But yeah, this is going to be hard to siege down against the Thoth. It's getting to the Thoth that's going to be the key for them. Yeah. They had that window, using the fog, surprisingly enough, around the fire gen like I was asking for, to find a pick up Yammyn, but they didn't capitalize on it as they should have.
Funballer is the one that made that pause there, but I like that play they made through the fog, Graham. That was scary. In particular, right? It was like a couple of the tanks trying to find the stuns. They couldn't quite find them, but they were able to find the fight afterwards anyway. Ducky, in particular, hit that multi-man knock-up with his own ultimate that kind of got the ball rolling.
And when you actually look at the composition that you've got from SK a little bit more, we keep mentioning 3 tanks, but when you look at NRG and what they have, Ravana can't really solo down a tank that easily.
No.
Anhur kind of drifts off towards the later stages unless he can keep focusing the same target. But if you've got 3 tanks duking in and out and blocking shots for each other, it makes it trickier.
It is. You would probably rather have Anhur's passive though against these tankier targets than maybe like an Artemis. You'd probably rather have Anhur's, I would say, right? Because he's going to be chipping away at them a little bit more, I think.
I guess, but like
if you're forcing, if you're going to be
crit
tanks,
though, right? Crit's
crit. That's fair. Crit's
you
good.
Know?
Crit's good.
Can't get away from the crit at the end of the day.
It's getting better. Crit's coming back. I'm happy. I like hunters.
Yeah.
I want to play hunters.
You do?
All the time.
Why?
What do you mean? There's nothing better than, two-shotting somebody.
Oh, okay.
And it actually takes skill, unlike being a mage with a big AoE ability like aggro. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah. So easy.
It feels good when aggro's 9 because we can just talk bad about mages and he can't complain all the time.
Yeah, he can't. He's just at home, complaining to himself.
That's right.
I love it.
Bit of a long pause, this one. Surprised why it's taking so long. I guess it was... I wonder what they're doing.
They're trying to get everything sorted out, Graham. Let them handle their business.
Themselves?
Yeah, let them handle it. Come on.
Having a little argue amongst themselves about who did right and who did wrong in the last engagement.
We should have taken the Phoenix.
Doesn't matter now. Phoenix still stands.
It doesn't matter now. That's right. They should be moving beyond that and instead looking at what they can do now in this push. It looks like they're pushing down the duo lane, and they got to make sure that they're not letting this Thoth, as you've mentioned, be the big deterrent factor. They got to play around their new wah. I like Lawbster on this new wah for their push.
Use the fog. That's going to be the real key for them to try and get back into this one at the moment. Obviously, with Yammyn right now on the Thoth, the biggest thing with the Thoth, though, is the siege defense and offense. He's an artillery mage. With being an artillery mage, it means he can just sit so far back in the backline that they can't get to him. With all 3 Phoenixes still being up 2, you can't use the wraparound as easy.
Right.
You can try and poke someone through the Phoenix edge into the little gap between the left-hand Phoenix and the middle Phoenix and get someone through that hole there. But to do that, you have to show yourself in the first place, which kind of gives the game away.
We got another pause coming out here. It looks like it was emilitoo this time. He's having a little bit of trouble trying to get back into the game, so we'll get him situated, get him back in here, because he's got a pretty big defense to try and make happen right now. And you kind of just went over just now how difficult a task it is going to be for them. But I'm very surprised by that SK have them even this close, this much on the ropes, Grant.
Well, it shows how good the actual Pro League is right now. And even though SK got dominated in Game 1, they came back in Game 2 and have NRG on the ropes again.
Not easy.
Obey put NRG on the ropes. And even though we talk about the top versus the bottom, NRG rival Dig looking like 3 of the best teams in Europe have right now, the bottom end of the SPL isn't that terrible, even though it looks like it because of how their record stands.
Yeah, I don't think it's a mechanical gap between them at all. Certainly not based on what we've seen from here this game. Sure. It's just the synergy between the 2 teams, or between the teams. And right now, it's looking like, at least with this composition, SK have that synergy.
Well, this is back to what SK kind of know, at least Funballer and Lawbster.
Right.
I keep saying it, but like they have run that so often in previous years where they get left to peel for themselves. Solid New War are great gods for doing that.
The siege is on, though. Taunt's going to come on the backside. It's going to be Faeles, who's looking for the knockup as well. Already incredibly low is Yammyn. Such an important kill if he can find it. Aegis keeps him alive. That's a huge difference maker. Now it's maniaKK who ends up falling. Lawbster takes credit for that one, but they still haven't put any damage into the Phoenix. Final Judgment is what helped emilitoo find Funballer on the backside. 1-for-1 so far.
Focus the Phoenix!
They haven't yet.
The kills!
They have not yet focused. This Phoenix adapting is able to find Lawbster. The Phoenix falls, but NRG are continuing to surge. Evade and punish used aggressively. A double kill comes out for adapting. emilitoo finds another kill for himself. Now it's only WhoDaBest left alive. NRG find this kill as well, even with the 2-man stun. Double kill for emilitoo. Full-blown deicide. Now they can start pushing down the base. It's 40+ seconds here on just about everyone. Funballer a little bit sooner. What can NRG do with this?
Get a tier 2 mid, tier 2 and right will fall on its own more than likely here. Fire Giant respawns, they pick up Fire Giant, and then they have a chance to answer back and just push down left maybe. wait for their Phoenix to respawn. I don't think they can get a Phoenix here. Maybe they can. Maybe I'm lying.
It depends on how Funballer ends up playing this defense. If he comes too far forward, he might end up dying on his own. He might not even get a chance to defend this. Still 6 seconds before he'll be here. emilitoo's here to put in his damage.
Big if they get
I think they're going to be able to take this mid-Phoenix down.
Thinking about it, I didn't take into account the Fafnir that's been very quiet this game, I will say. But that Fafnir allows them to get the extra steroid to give emilitoo the boost to bring it down.
Wow. This defense was so important for them, and they just managed to pull it out. Did NRG SK. Oh, they commit very much onto Yammyn, in particular Faeles, and they couldn't find that kill, Graham.
And I was going to say, there's 2 important factors in that team fight when you look back. The one is Yammyn surviving. The Aegis at the end of that, he was 1 hit from death. His Aegis bought him enough time to get back to the fountain. Then he hits a big ultimate after getting his health back that hits onto the front line, which causes so many problems for SK. And Funballer swinging with his team to the back line, looking for the kills. They got to take the Phoenixes out early. If that Phoenix drops, that fight is a lot easier. They don't have to invest as much. They went for the game end off that play, and by doing that, they've given NRG a small window.
maniaKK is here. He doesn't want to let them get this Fire Giant for free. EmilZy is with them as well. Pin comes out. Ducky's very low. Yammyn out for the damage. Mystic Rush goes in. Funballer with it, or emilitoo rather, with the Desert Fury finds a kill for himself.
Lawbster's
Adapting and continue pushing forward as well.
Dangerous fight that for SK as well. They went straight back to the Fire Giant Finch when Lawbster didn't have either relic available. Now with that Fire Giant still there, and the mid lane is dead, and WhoDaBest is just trying to take him on a goose chase. This is a good call from him, by the way. Try and keep them busy, keep them away from your Phoenixes, keep them away from your towers. Make sure that we don't lose the game off that play.
They thought that NRG were going to give them that Fire Giant for free, and they absolutely did not. They come in, they contested. Fire Giant now going the way of NRG Esports. 5 members still standing. Another 50 seconds before we're going to be seeing WhoDaBest again. NRG have a chance now if they want to make a push of their own. Graham, I know it's a little bit back. Did you notice, did he have the ethereal staff, Yammyn, when they made the push in left? I'm wondering if those double health items are what kept him alive by that hair.
Could have potentially been. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I mean, they were pretty much full build anyway, so he would have had at least part of that finish for sure. Maybe the whole thing. The extra health definitely does boost up there, but survival is survival at the end of the day. This now is, well, it's an even game. 2 Phoenixes down, 1 for each team. One tower standing really for SK on the left-hand side. But the Fire Giants round NRG's way, so this should even up. We're back to a square game in the late game now.
At this point, you know, the gold lead's not really going to matter much. Maybe it might make a difference in the terms of a couple potions here or there, but really, these teams are, as you said, they're very even. The Fire Giant really going to be the big difference maker between the squads, and NRG are the ones who have that one. They do have, as you said, a tower to take down before they can start making their final push, and they're going to push in duo where their Phoenix is already weakened.
Well, you can also see as well now how these potions are. When you hit full build, you'll see 3 K-pots come out, and that's exactly what emilitoo has in his inventory in the consumable slot right about now. He's ready to pop that. It's ready to go the moment he needs it. He's not going to pop it before that because, you know, don't waste the cooldowns before we go for the siege, go for the big fight.
They're going to pop it right before the fight ends up starting, which shows me NRG are going to be the ones that are going to decide when the fight actually happens.
Just keep an eye on that pot. When that pot disappears, NRG's going to go. That's all we have to do now. I don't even have to look at anything other than that 3K pot in emilitoo's inventory. When that disappears, we're fighting.
What did we say, Graham? We said Anhur was a hunter who didn't have a go button in the late game, right? A kill you button. He kind of does a little bit now with this pot. He pushes that.
I was going to say, a 3K pot is a go button for anyone, to be fair.
Look where Funballer is. He's still hanging out over in the mid lane. Got to make sure he's careful.
I was going to say, funny enough, I call it a 3K pot because I don't even know its real name. I just know it costs 3,000 gold for that item.
The Potion of Physical Might, I want to say Elixir of Power.
No, that's the other one.
That is the 500 pot. Really.
500. Yeah, it used to be 4. Mistakes were made. Middle Phoenix is going to spawn soon, which is why I like NRG be on this left-hand side here. 5 minions, there's 2 waves of 5 minions pushing down mid right now. That'll keep someone busy. The bad news is, though, is new wars available to be able to just throw a fog and walk away if need be. But this could be about time. The 3K pot's gone!
It's going to be time now for them to go in. Jumping is actually Ducky going in for the ultimate. He has the Rage transformation timed. Fire Shards comes out from Lawbster as well, but everyone from NRG is still fine. Taunt comes out from Faeles. Supernova from Funballer to follow it up. up, but they haven't done any damage, it feels like, to much of anyone. The rest of SK Gaming now have a chance to try and collapse on maniaK, but Final Judgment strikes through on a Ducky as well. Adapting, gonna continue. He finds the root on the Lawbster. There's the damage, but Lawbster's still alive.
Everyone's alive. The only difference is the Fire Giant buff around the waste of energy is sustaining them back up quicker than SK can. SK have to limp back towards the fountain, and in doing so, it opens a window for energy.
Stun comes out. Yammyn goes in, finds the damage on the Funballer. Phoenix on the left-hand side falls as well. NRG Esports were down, it feels like, almost the entire game, but they finally start to break into the base of SK Gaming. Now they regroup. They want Phoenix in mid.
Yeah, they've got fire minions here as well, so this will really help out. That's a lot of fire archers. Actually, it's not as many fire archers as the first 4. It's only 3 fire archers, but it's a 4-on-5 with a Fire Giant around the waste of energy.
On the left-hand side, they're going for the collapse yet again, and this time it's going to be a Lawbster that falls. Adapting finds it lurking in the waters. Is a maniaK, slowing everyone, but he's got a specific target in mind, and it's WhoDaBest. Pluck, pull him back in, Adapting with the hands, and WhoDaBest will eventually end up falling to the damage from Yammyn. Now with 5 members strong, they turn towards the Titan. Everything has gone wrong for SK, and NRG Esports look primed to take the game.
Don't know if these two can hold on their own, but they're going to do a damn hard job at trying to, keeping them both busy, but one by one they're going to end up falling down. Unless Faeles gets back in. emilito's going for the kill steal. That could have been a throw there, emilitoo. Careful with that, because Funballer was about to come back up.
It just is not easy to take down this squad. A couple of members of this squad are 2-time world champions, and they're showing you some of their mettle right now. SK Gaming took them to the brink, but they pulled it right back. NRG Esports take the set, and they take game 2.
I'm not going to lie, if you're an SK guy there, that's just disappointing.
That's heartbreaking, yeah.
It's heartbreaking. They're going to look back, and honestly, from my position, it was that Fire Giant call when they should have taken middle Phoenix. It's a game of inches, and the small mistakes like that can really come back and haunt you. It wasn't the only one, but that was the real standout one that kind of changed the way the game went. Win the fight, take the Phoenix, go back for Fire Giant.
Even with that decision, I'm still coming back to Yammyn surviving on that push behind the Phoenix.
That also helps, yeah.
That was huge. I'm sorry I didn't see it when it happened, but if he had that ethereal staff, if that little bit of HP was the difference in him getting to get that Aegis off, I mean, then huge on that decision. But chat, you got your work cut out for you there in Mixer. Who was the MVP in that game? Please vote in the polls and let us know.
That's not easy. That is a really hard decision on who to give the victory to on energy. If anyone, it'll be a team play for me.
Yeah. Some way you can vote for all 5. It needs to be 20% split chat. Can you make it happen? 20% in all 5 of them. I want to see you do it. I don't have anything to give them if they do, though. I'm all out of cooks.
Oh, you don't?
No, I'm all out.
Rip you.
Give them all.
Oh, you know, before we go,
yeah.
How about I do my Hoyi impression for celebration?
Yeah, I want to see it.
Sound good?
It sounds great. I'm hoping it'll sound good.
I will. You guys ready? Here we go.
That was really good.
Sorry, there's a little bit area there. Sorry.
That was really good.
I've got to try and fix it. Thank you. Ready? One more time, just for you guys at home. See?
There it is. That sounded like Hindu man doing it and no one else helping out with that one. Let's get over to the desk though so we can break it down.
Chat.
Do the thing, Tully.
We're here. What a game here coming from NRG. Bouncing back from their defeat against Obey Alliance. Now 2-0 victory over SK Gaming.
Nice try, SK. Bad try, Hindu man. But nice try, SK. At one point, I think we saw them about 10, almost 15,000 gold in the lead, right?
They were so far ahead, unfortunately, for them. They couldn't find ways to close it out.
It was really, really rough. I remember one of my favorite moments was when we had the Funball pause. 5-0-2. You take a break from the action and you go, there's no way that SK is going to lose this one. There was some way that SK was going to lose this one. All 5 members of NRG combined, they basically Voltron it, and really, this was, I agree with the commentators there, this was a team victory in every sense of the word.
There was a small window, actually, after the second Fire Giant that SK got, where they could have got the Phoenix before they went for the Fire Giant, but then once they waited for the response from NRG, it was a full 5-on-5 fight, and then after that point in time, they were really able to just rush down Lawbster, and then they couldn't close out the Phoenix fast enough. Right. And then they had to do a 5-on-4 without Lawbster having the Fire Giant, and then it was just like a trickle-down effect. The triple kill coming out of emilitoo to defend the left side Phoenix
really
was
big.
Very important.
And, you know, that's kind of what you expect out of Emil. He's this guy that comes through in the clutch and makes the plays and the kills when it counts. But our MVP is the consistent adapting. He's able to come out here from minute 1 to minute 0 and really bring the business. 4, 1, and 8. What's his slash line over here? 27,000 player damage as well. That's pretty high.
For a Ravana jungle, I would say so, especially considering that, you know, you're doing very important damage. It's not like you're a soul laner and you're just kind of like boxing with the opposition. His damage really matters, and it really mattered right there during the dive. I think this is where things went downhill for SK Gaming.
Just rough. Just rough. I think this is one of those games that I know I'm the unbiased one. I always, you know, we as commentators, we watch the league zoomed out. But I think this is the game that you watch even as a fan, that you sit there and you go, man, that was just rough.
Yeah.
It really sucks watching a team just perform so well like SK did and then falter at the end, man.
That's true. But with this win, NRG get one step closer to clenching. They just need one more victory next week against Rival.
Week 5, of course, week 6 is going to be the final week that we have here in our spring split, and then we're going to be talking about LAN, baby. So that's for Europe. Coming up tomorrow is going to be North America, however. We start the day at about 5 p.m. Atlanta time. We're going to be taking a look at Trifecta versus Splice, and then Luminosity with the doubleheader, Space Station Gaming and Splice one more time.
Should be some very interesting matchups for that one. Europe is always bringing a lot of action and a lot of new interesting ideas as the weeks progress and we get closer and closer to the end of the split. There's always that pocket strategy that teams are bringing out that's just all things to the wall, where it's just like no holding back anymore.
I'm excited to see if we're going to see LG on top or in the middle. That's really what I'm looking forward to. Keep an eye on that one and make sure to join us in Mixer Chat for tomorrow. But for today, that's it. I almost did the SPL happen thing.
I saw you. You're like about to throw it.
I was about to throw it, but right now I got to throw it to the credits of the Peach, of course. So for myself, Anatoly, my co-commentators, even the ones that are home, production, and all you guys in chat, we love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you tomorrow.